Cliff Korman. I'm a professor here at UFMG, Universidade Federal de Minas Gerais, in Belo Horizonte. I was born in New York and grew up knowing the scene there of jazz and improv, etc. And very early on made a connection with Brazilian music in New York, and after that, that was in the 80s, and after that started to travel down here, make professional and personal connections, and ended up living here. Over a long period of time I made the move, and now I teach here at the university in the area of popular music studies. It's a complicated subject because I think it is a way of being. I think it's a way of approaching things, and it's a way of approaching music in this case, but it's certainly a way of considering reality in a way, and stimuli. What do I do with this? And in general, I think it's really about that. What is this stimulus that I'm receiving, and what am I feeling about it, or what am I instigating, and where is it going now that it's in the air and it's free? And the question becomes, am I going to restrict it inside of an idiom, as Derek Bailey talked about, or am I going to take away the pathways, perhaps, that have been tread? And frankly, just to place myself in this, I don't have any judgment about either of those ways. And over a long period of time, I've walked both ways and been in both places. I was lucky enough to be part of studying at the Creative Music Studio for a bit. I knew Carl Berger in his way. And also I studied with people like Barry Harris. So in New York, at my moment in New York, all of that was going on at the same time. And so I see it now, after all these years, as really a way of deciding whether or not you're going to lay down pathways before you go. We are starting a Grupo de Pesquisa, which is a research group on improvisation. So this is a great moment to receive you and to know about your project as well. I think you teach process, and I think you teach, you expose people to the possibilities, to what's available. It has a lot to do with history and who was active and who is active and what's been done, and experiences, as you were doing today with your let's try this and let's go this way. It's almost, there are two paths I travel. One of which is, I think we're talking about here, which is almost allowing permission, meaning you don't have to do anything that you think is preconceived, that if you can possibly let that go. But that's also something that's almost a training. How do you let go? And all those issues that brings up, that's an issue. You know, it doesn't happen over, in a click of a switch. Okay, let go. Be free. It doesn't happen like that. So it's a process, and I think you make that process available. Let's walk this. That's a teaching, by showing, by leading, by doing things together, by showing what's available, what's been done, as you did with your videos. This was done. This was done. Why don't we try this? By talking about what those people might have been thinking and what their idea was. And the other part of it is training the process. And I think this comes into something I really believe strongly, which is about knowing your instrument. Whether it's idiomatic or not, technique is becoming something more and more important to me. To teach somebody, to lead somebody to learn to know intimately their instrument. And then to say, okay, now that with these stimuli, because you have studied, because you have a good sound, because you know your fingers go where you want them to go, to make something happen. Now let's take this motive or fragment or timbre or whatever it is and work with it. Until that moment comes where somebody has the technique to do it, it's almost as if you're asking them to do something almost impossible, because their brain might be hearing something or wanting something, but they can't do it. So I think in my teaching anyway, it's this combination of technique, whatever that means,